Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a sincere and warm welcome to the second annual DÍA Top Entrepreneurs Awards. We're so pleased to have you. I'm Janet Alvarez, CNBC contributor and host of the Business Briefing on Sirius XM Radio, and I'm so pleased to be your host again for a second year. Tonight, we're here to celebrate 6 categories of incredible businesses, but also the accomplishments of all of this year's nominees. There are leaders who, despite seemingly endless challenges, have done so much to build and grow their entrepreneurial spirit, which as a byproduct also enriches the economy of the Mid-Atlantic region and beyond. Throughout the event, we would like to encourage you to share, tag, and post on social media using the hashtags DÍA and Top Entrepreneurs. Thank you to the DÍA team for putting this exceptional program together, and to the advisory board for their commitment to this program. When I call you, please stand up to be recognized as a member of this year's advisory board. First up, Luis Torrado, President of Torrado Construction. Next, Regina Hairston, President and CEO of the African American Chamber of Commerce of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. Next, Kelsey Azoka, President and CEO of Greenline Access Capital. Rebecca Acevedo, Senior Vice President of Communications at West Coast Bank. Damian Salas, co-founder of Brew and Associate Dean at Drexel University. And Varsovia Fernandez, Executive Director of the Pennsylvania CDF Network. Their work, however, would not be possible without support and generosity of our partners. Thank you to our supporting partners, JP Morgan Chase, PIDC, and West Coast Bank. And certainly to our partners here at the Philadelphia Club for such a warm welcome. Now, to deliver opening remarks, it's my privilege to introduce Hernán Guaracao, founder, publisher, and CEO of DÍA News.
I'm so privileged to be here tonight, presiding over an event that I never imagined was possible. I'm so impressed by the quantity and the quality of the individuals that are present here and the diversity of the people that have chosen to be here with us. This is our second or third? Second annual DÍA Top Entrepreneurs, DÍA live event. So I want to say thank you for coming. I want to say thank you also to the news team of DÍA who put the stories together, discovered the stories and wrote them out. On the outstanding individuals you will meet in person tonight. This event took also a lot of work to piece together, and for that reason I'm grateful to a member of the DÍA team that, with great patience, organized it. My sincere thanks also to the members of the advisory board for guiding, giving us the insight, and of course our sponsors. They highlighted the far-sighted institution that understand that this type of public recognitions and journalism is overdue in our city. So, muchas gracias JP Morgan, PIDC, and WSL Bank for making this project possible. Why do we host this event and why we publish this kind of stories? Well, because no one else does. And I think it's about time we start reading those stories, knowing the real value of these stories, and understand that this is something that goes largely uncovered by the rest of the media. I'm speaking as an entrepreneur who started my business in North Philadelphia in 1991 as a one-man operation, home-based business, as DÍA was in that first year. And look, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't impossible either, right? So it's with no respect that I salute the people that have been recognized today, because I know what they know. That is not easy, but it's possible. So congratulations, Alma Romero and Marcos Tlacopilco. Congratulations, Hector Núñez. Congratulations, Massey Kasher. Congratulations, Neidari Zambrano. And congratulations, Richard Olaya. You know, I know Richard for maybe more than 15 years or more, but I didn't know the story of him until I read it in Al Día. I read the full story today when you posted in LinkedIn, and I said, wow, didn't know that guy had it so difficult as I did. And that's why I think the importance of the content that we're developing is so important. I see it like this, okay? Let me finish with the list. Sofia de Leon, congratulations. Why do I say I respect them? Well, because I know that it's not easy. I've been in that trench, and I know exactly what it takes to become an entrepreneur, especially when you don't have the calling for it, but you have to do it, right? I explained always that I became a publisher because I was standing near the pool and somebody pushed me into it and put the deep end of the pool, and we figured out how to swim, right? Learn and survive. I'm here speaking from 20 years of doing Al Día. And this is not about me. I think it's about the next generation that is coming out. You will meet the team of Al Día. They are in their 30s or 20s sometimes. And they're people who are being inspired probably by our example. I think it's a responsibility that all of us share. So I better stick to my script. We initially launched this program in 2021 as a way to support our business owners as they recover from the 2020 pandemic that devastated our region's economy. However, we found that telling these stories were doing a type of journalism no one else was doing in our city, one that highlighted the journeys of our brave men and women who decided to become entrepreneurs, and that by making that personal decision, have gradually become the backbone of our region's economy. Pre-pandemic, the numbers of small and mid-sized businesses in Philadelphia was at the highest since 1990s, and it's still growing. But few people know it as this story is yet to be reported and published by our local news media. These businesses accounted for 82% of all establishments and generated 29% of all jobs, generated 30% of sales receipts, and roughly created half of the local business tax revenues, according to the data from Experian provided by the Pew Charitable Trust Philadelphia Business and Jobs Dashboard. Of the more than 44,000 businesses in the city of Philadelphia with trackable credit records and activity, approximately 90% have between 1 and 99 employees. The type of business that are owned and run by Hispanic entrepreneurs, African American entrepreneurs, and Asian entrepreneurs. We believe the health of this business is a fundamental piece of the region's economic vitality that goes vastly underreported. Through this program and editorial content, Al Día aims to elevate and shine light on this side of the reality which doesn't get covered by the business journals of the world or the business section of the daily newspaper of our city, or the prestige magazines. You'll hear the story directly tonight from our winners as they come to the podium later on this program. There are a cross-section of these new residents of Philadelphia who, with their vision, business acumen, and hard work, are revitalizing entire neighborhoods across the region. Tonight we'll celebrate honorees who have been selected from 6 new categories: Top Restaurateur Business Innovation, Partnership Award, Chainmaker Award, Brick and Mortar Award, and Pioneer Award. So welcome you to the second annual Top Entrepreneurs of DÍA. And I want to finish by quoting somebody who I met early today, who I know became an entrepreneur only the past 10 years. So he's one of the young people. His name is Héctor Serrano, and I asked him, how are you making out? And he said, es mucho trabajo. It's a lot of work. And I said, well, what are the choices we have? So I congratulate you, Hector. I congratulate every one of you who has tried the entrepreneurship path, and you have all my respect. And I'm grateful to the rest of you who have decided to come to pay the respect to them as well tonight. Thank you so much. I enjoyed the program.
Muchas gracias, Hernan. Thank you. Before we begin the program tonight, we would like to start with a panel discussion with members of the Philadelphia Diverse Chamber Coalition. And I'd like to welcome them to join us up here for this conversation. It's an honor to have with us the Diverse Chambers Coalition of Philadelphia, a collective of local diverse chambers of commerce, who in 2021 announced a formal partnership to focus on working collaboratively to facilitate entrepreneurship and growth, to advocate collectively on shared issues, and to increase each member's organizational efficiency. The Diverse Chambers Coalition of Philadelphia includes the African American Chamber of Commerce of PA, New Jersey, and Delaware, the Asian American Chamber of Commerce of Greater Philadelphia, the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and the Independence Business Alliance, Greater Philadelphia's LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce. Please welcome Regina Hairston, representing the African American Chamber, Ms. Saw, representing the Asian American Chamber, and Zach Wilcher, representing the LGBTQ Chamber. And Jennifer Rodriguez, representing the Hispanic Chamber, is here with us in spirit tonight. Her pet fell sadly very ill and she couldn't make it. I know. So my first question, Regina, is, the Diverse Chambers Coalition of Philadelphia was founded in 2021. It's a wonderful idea, but what galvanized this? What drove you to start this?
So I started leading the African American Chamber of Commerce in January of 2021 when we were still in the pandemic. Businesses were still coming back from the impacts of closing. Jennifer and Zach were already working to make sure businesses had the resources that they needed. And so I came to the group a little bit late. We started meeting, or they were already meeting on a monthly basis. And so when I entered the mix, we decided that we were going to have an MOU, a mutual agreement of understanding, where we decided to formalize our relationship. And what that meant is that the four chambers would work together to advocate on issues that we unanimously agreed upon. So if it's something that we all don't agree upon, then we just work individually as we usually would. And so with that, we've been able to galvanize our membership in City Council, in the Mayor's administration, around issues that impact our businesses. You will see on your table a survey that we conduct twice a year. This survey allows us to determine from our businesses what is impacting you that you wish for us to advocate for.
Thank you. And Zach, can you tell us a little bit about the challenges that the Chamber has been facing? What are some of the most serious challenges that you're facing now? And what sort of message would you put out to the broader diversity business community about these challenges?
Sure. Thank you, Janet. When we think about the challenges that are facing the businesses that we represent as a coalition, it actually is informed by the surveys that we do. And we've distilled what these big challenges are right now down to four C words. One is the cost of doing business in Philadelphia. The cost is exorbitantly high in Philadelphia. We're one of the few cities that is double taxed for small businesses. Our businesses tell us all the time that is the most, at one point it was the most onerous barrier that they had to surmount to grow and thrive in the city of Philadelphia. The second one is the clarity of doing business in Philadelphia. The second challenge that we talk about a lot is the clarity of doing business in Philadelphia. There's a labyrinthine system of regulations in the city that make it difficult for people to start businesses and then to maintain those businesses. And in similarly situated cities, we see that there are far fewer steps to putting a business together. So that's something we hear from our businesses all the time. And the last two C's right now, we're probably not a surprise to anybody who's living and working here, are crime and cleanliness. So when we hear this from our business constituents, I hope that this is a hopeful message. We synthesize this information and we beat the drum in front of City Council, and we let them know that these are the biggest problems that are happening. When we have any contact with the mayor or his administration, we let him know as well. It's election season in Philadelphia, and anytime that we can be in front of candidates to let them know what is on our businesses' minds, we talk about these 4 C's over and over again, in addition to some other things as well, but these are the ones that sort of rise to the top. So I hope it's a hopeful message that a coalition like ours is aligned in making sure that decision makers and stakeholders in the city of Philadelphia understand what these hurdles are, and that these small businesses that we represent are the backbone economically of the city, and we need to make sure that they are staying in the city and not wanting to move outside of the city to do business elsewhere.
Can you tell us a little bit about the reception that the Asian American business community has had the Diverse Coalition? Has it strengthened their experience of doing business in Philadelphia, and if so, how?
Absolutely. So I joined the Diverse Chambers really late because I joined the Asian American Chamber in 2021, October. And before I joined the chamber, our current chairman, who was leading the Asian American Chamber, Nick Shinoy, was working with Jennifer, Regina, and Zach to kick off this coalition because we see the importance of working together. Together, our voices are louder, and we all share the same amount of challenges, if not, literally, we go through difficulties in language barrier, cultural difficulties, right? We want to get that message across. We want the city and all the other businesses, diverse businesses, to understand that it's not just your problem. Everyone is on the same boat. We have to work together to solve the issues. So for Asian businesses, we represent about 7.8% of Philadelphia's 1.6 million population, but we also represent 11% of small business ownership in the city of Philadelphia. But it's not just Asians. There are so many Asians that are married to Latinos and Blacks and so many different, ethnicities. So we can't just say, oh, you're Asian or you're this. We really have to solve the common issues like crime, safety, education, family values, all of these that impact small business owners together. Because at the end of the day, small business owners are moms and pops that want to go home safely and that want their children coming home safely. So that's our number one issue. So why do we need Philadelphia to uplift small businesses? Because it is not only the backbone of the economy, it also inspires our children to be entrepreneurial, to be creative. So the reception of Diverse Chambers Coalition by Asian community is really positive because we're seeing, for example, last year we worked together to advocate for the reduction of bird and wage tax. We haven't seen that since the 1980s. The percentage may be small, but it's a good start, right? We advocated for 1 year reduction. And if we can do that persistently for the next 10 years, so that small business owners are no longer double taxed in Philadelphia. Think about it. The money that you'll be paying, you can spend that to increase the goods and services that you're providing to your customers. You can pay more for your children's safety and education. So if you have 5 minutes, please do take the survey because it is so important, numbers in strength. Just let the city know this is what we need. If you can help out, that will be terrific.
Thank you, Kim. So my final round of questions will go to each one of you. And what I'd like to know from each panelist is, if you had one wish, if you had a genie that could grant you one wish as to what could change in the Philadelphia business community that would make a positive impact in your particular Chamber of Commerce, and I heard double taxation, and I've heard some others. If you had one wish, what would it be? Regina, starting with you.
So I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna do two. So the first one, access to capital. Any capital that any business owner is seeking in our chamber, they have it hands down. They don't have to go through the hoops that they currently go through. But then I want to talk about procurement. In the city of Philadelphia, African Americans represent right now about 39% of the population. Before COVID, it was 44% of the population. Yet African Americans, when it comes to contracts with the city of Philadelphia, we see about 3% contracts. And it's always, well, we couldn't find anyone to do the work. We didn't know anyone. Well, that's not true. And so I would, if I had a one wish, it is that we can all find a way to make sure that the folks that want to do business with the city of Philadelphia has the access to do the business with the city of Philadelphia. When folks say they can't find anyone, they're actually leaning into the resources that are so available. There's so many resources in Philadelphia to help connect them to those firms that want to do business.
Can I just say publicly that that is eye-opening for me, right? I think a lot of us obviously work in business here in Philadelphia, but that is an outrageous figure. And I take it as a personal mission to help change that. Thank you for raising awareness of that issue.
Well, if Regina cheated, I'm going to cheat too. I'm going to name two. And one is I'm going to piggyback on some of the important things that Regina was saying about procurement. LGBTQ plus businesses, there's a certification for it nationwide, and Philadelphia is the largest city in the country that is not using LGBT certifications. The state of Pennsylvania does, the state of New Jersey does, but Philadelphia still has not gotten on board yet, and that's part of our advocacy that we do. So that would be 1A. And then 1B is I would love to see more folks in the city of Philadelphia sort of using the example of our diverse coalition. The fact that we came together, I'd love to see all of us using our monies together. I'd love to see people from different chambers going in on RFPs together, that if they are not the kind of company that is at scale to be able to accomplish the RFP that's out there, I want to see our folks teaming up together. LGBTQ plus folks are part of every single demographic, right? We are every racial and ethnic background, every gender expression, sexual orientation, industry, and part of geography of the area. So we're everywhere, we're part of every community, and we would love to see all of our communities working together in that way for economic uplift.
Since my partners have pretty much covered all the wishes, my one wish for the business community and for all of us is safety. If we can hold criminals accountable, that will be the number one incentive for businesses from all over the country, not just in Philadelphia, to come and invest in Philadelphia, to live in Philadelphia. So if we can bring safety, public safety back in public transportation, regular commute, no one should fear for their life when they're commuting during daytime from point A to point B in any neighborhood. If we can strengthen public safety, and especially in commercial corridors. Have you heard of commercial corridors where people actually, we have designated commercial corridors where people feel empowered to invest and to work and to open businesses. So we need to encourage commercial corridor managers, actually. Next time when we have these events, I would love to see more commercial corridor managers that speak your language, my language, everybody's language. They have the best message. Hey, if you want to come and invest in Northeast Philly, these are the tips. If you are looking at West Philly, we can help you. So safety, that will be my wish.
Regina, Zach, Keen, Jennifer, and Spirit. A profound gratitude for all of the work you do for all of our business communities and the business community of Greater Philadelphia, of which we're all a part. Thank you again for being our panelist. Before we get started with the awards ceremony, we'd like to take a moment to honor tonight's nominees. A round of applause. We already had it. All right. And now the first nominee in the category of restaurateur. She was born and bred in Guatemala City. Her journey into food entrepreneurship started early, when at the age of 13 years old, her brother gifted her an ice cream machine. Get this. The idea was that she made the ice cream and then he ate the ice cream. Doesn't sound like a great idea to me, but okay. I would want to eat it too. She saw a world in which ice cream options in the Guatemalan market were badly needed and decided to offer her ice cream in school. The entrepreneurial seed had already been planted at that early age. She engaged into a catering business in her home country, pursued an education in the United States, and is now the owner of a chain restaurant, catering company, and retail shop for prepared foods and handmade goods made by Guatemalan women called El Mercury. That's right across the street from my house, by the way. It's wonderful. Please welcome top restaurateur, Sofia de Leon.
To be honest, I didn't have anything prepared, but I just want to say thank you so much for having me here. It's been 5 years of having a Mercury, and it all started because I wanted to represent underrepresented countries with a great food culture. I was like, I need a little piece of home in Philadelphia, and I never thought that it would become almost like an educational piece where I welcome people every day and I get to teach them about my country, and I would not want to do anything else. So I really appreciate everyone at LD and everyone in Philadelphia for supporting us and for having us here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. I'll be at a Mercury tomorrow. If I can tell them that I know you, will they hook me up with? Okay. The next honoree is a trailblazer, as many of you are. When Instagram was in its infancy, he had the vision of what it meant to be an influencer long before the term was coined. He highlights and continues to provide the scoop on all things Philly through his extremely influential media company, Water Ice. The vision behind his platform detracts from the negative storylines that often dominate people's perceptions of our city. Instead, his mission allows people to see the unique beauty by providing a platform for small businesses, entrepreneurs, and members of the city community to have a place to speak and to be heard. Please welcome to the stage the Business Innovation Honoree, Héctor Núñez.
How's everyone doing? Appreciate you having me. Well, first, I want to thank IDEA for having me out here, and now he's a blueprint for everything we do. So I appreciate you. You're the real trailblazer out here for me. But I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for my team. So shout out to my team over here, Lauren, Farah, and Jay. They're really everybody in my team are their own bosses in their own right. I feel like Jason Kelsey. It's the whole team. Just real quickly, it started off as like just a hobby, just a passion. I wanted to like write and storytell, but quickly that hobby turned into like from an I to a we as we got more. My team came into fruition, and we quickly saw that there was definitely a need. A byproduct or a passion turned into like a lot of businesses needed a platform, so we were there to help amplify their platform. But also, I noticed that our team, is all multicultural. So it was people of color, all Black and Latino. And I don't use the term minority because there's nothing minor about us. But yeah, so as the platform steadily grew, we also had a responsibility. And that responsibility was to control the narrative. So we made sure that nobody on our platform, whether it be Black or brown, was shown in a negative light. If you see anybody on our platform, they're an entrepreneur, doing things in the community, doing positive things, because representation matters. And when young people see us and see our pages, we want to be that positive influence in Philly, because Philly has a lot of great places to eat, a lot of places to visit, but the real commodity is its people. And we want to invest in those people and invest heavily and provide, amplify their voices. So that's why we're here. So I appreciate everyone's support, and hopefully you follow the page and follow our journey. And we can't work with many of you we haven't worked with yet. Have a great night.
There is nothing minor about that. I am going to quote that. Nothing minor about us. I like that. Thank you, Héctor. Next up is a duo that is a true representation of the American dream, arriving in Philadelphia from Puebla, Mexico in 1998 with all odds stacked against them. They overcame multiple barriers and went from working for a fish market to becoming owners of two businesses in the Italian market that quickly became staples within the community. And you probably know them, Alma del Mar and Marco's Fish Market. The saying, often stated by the owners, "A todo lo que hagas ponle corazón," essentially means put your heart in everything you do. It's represented in everything that they have established here in the U.S. for their family, our community, and each other. Un aplauso, por favor, para los ganadores del premio Socios del Año, Alma Romero y Marcos Tlacopilco.
Buenas tardes a todos. Soy Alma Romero y represento a Alma del Mar Restaurant.
Yo soy Marcos Tlacopilco y represento a Marcos Fish and Crab House Inc.
Antes que nada queremos decir gracias al equipo Al Día por su esfuerzo por destacar emprendedores y aquellos que nos nominaron.
Queremos darle las gracias a nuestra familia por el apoyo diario.
Cada uno de nuestros hijos trabaja todos los días y perdemos el tiempo de juegos en familia. Aunque estamos cansados, valoramos la presencia y sabemos que el trabajo duro vale la pena. Y por eso, y por supuesto, queremos decirle gracias a nuestra comunidad que nos apoya. En eso incluimos nuestros clientes que valoran el marisco, el pescado y la buena cocina.
Y respondemos a nuestros clientes, a todo lo que hagas, hazlo de corazón. For everything you do, put in your heart. Thank you for encouraging our belief in people. we recognize that we are part of the Philadelphia community and we continue to work our hardest for you.
Thank you. Y de verdad que les puso corazón, ¿cierto? Gracias, Alma y Marcos. Our next honoree is one of a kind. Every day in this city, we're exposed to stories of violence occurring all around us, and that is true and very sad reality that we're living in. It leads us to feel a sense of helplessness, and if the problem is too big, almost too complex to conquer. However, for this man, he, along with his friend Stephen Pickens, decided it was time to take the lead. He is now the CEO and executive director of the Philly Truce Foundation and co-creator of the Philly Truce app, an app that serves to mediate and resolve conflict in a nonviolent manner by providing citizens, especially the youth, with a confidant to turn to when issues arise. He is the epitome of a change maker. Please welcome Mazzy Kasher.
Good evening, everyone. How y'all doing? I have some stuff I want to say that's important, but just meeting Hernan and I went to introduce myself. He's like, I can't wait to hear your story. I wasn't really going to do my story, but I will do a quick. It's really amazing for us to be here. You know, Steve and I went to high school together. We hadn't seen each other. We ran into each other in the end of 2020, and it was, like about to be 500 homicides. And we started remembering that when we was in 10th grade in 1990, it was 500 homicides. And we just started thinking, like, we seen this movie before, what can we do as grown men now to make a difference? And pretty much from there, we just started talking ourselves into everything we've been doing. No tech experience. We said we're going to do an app. We did the app. But we had to go out and make people believe and trust in us. That turned into doing street outreach, peace patrol. We wanted the kids to get more involved. That turned into going into schools and doing assemblies. That this is about entrepreneurship. If we knew ahead of time what would lie ahead, we wouldn't have done nothing. So, follow your heart, and that's pretty much all you need. So I do want to say a few things. I would like to thank DÍA. I would like to acknowledge the fellow recipients. Congratulations. Aside from myself, Philly Truce at this table right here, my wife, Felicia, my co-founder, Steve Pickens, and his wife, Malika. That is the people, outside of myself who really invest the most in this. And I think in this year and a half or whatever, 2 years maybe, we were able to get over 500 Philadelphians to volunteer, first-time activism in gun violence prevention. And the last thing I just want to say, this is very important, that we're here together at this time. I want to acknowledge the joint chambers or the coalition, and this thing, change making. I just want to make sure we make use of the opportunity in this moment right now to strengthen the bond between the African American and Latinx communities, who together with our Asian brothers and sisters make up a 65% majority of this city. 65% of Philadelphia is black and brown. Yes. Keep that in mind. As we prepare to select our 100th mayor, let us make sure that she or he understands, like my man Hector said, ain't no minorities here, all right? And the only way that we, as a city, will never again find ourselves with an epidemic void of creative, empathetic leadership, which allows for a gun violence crisis and an opioid crisis and a 23% poverty rate. The only way out of these cycles is we band together, hold the next mayor accountable, in my opinion, to a minimum 25-year long-term process to bring about socioeconomic parity along racial lines. And I want to thank DÍA because they published the open letter that addresses all the mayoral candidates. The only one that took a chance. Everybody had a crack at it. The Citizen, the Inquirer, and all those other supposed to be progressive places. And they published it. And right now, I know I'm taking up more than my time, but I have to say this. We want to sit these mayoral candidates down, right? I already reached out to a bunch of them. Shout out to Loretta. She put the letter in Rebecca's hand today. So the word is out. We have a site called checkthemayor.com. Please add your voice to that petition so that they know we serious. They got to sit down with the black and brown. Yes. And that's it. Thank you.
I hope you guys are sharing all of these intensely quotable, sit down with the black and brown, ain't no minorities here, there's no minors. Please, get this tweeted out. All right, thank you, Mazzy. Now moving on to a transformative and important industry, one responsible for molding us all, early development and education. 25 years ago, our honoree in the category of brick and mortar immigrated to the US from her native country, Venezuela, with very few resources. I heard the word. Since she has earned her master's degree, worked in multiple nonprofits, and by doing so, learned how to build her own business. About 10 years ago, she bought her first early development center, now known as Magic Memories. Impressively, today, she is now the owner of 9 early learning centers, employing over 200 people across the region and creating a safe place for hundreds of children in our area to grow and learn. Put your hands together for Neidari Sembrano.
Well, I want to say gracias. Gracias al DÍA. Thank you, al DÍA. Thank you for everybody. And it's such an honor to be here, especially with that high level of honorees, that I'm really proud to be here as part of this group. I want to just tell you a little bit about myself. I came from Venezuela, and I never thought I was going to be an entrepreneur, and I never thought I was going to own my business, but this has actually been an amazing road for me, where I've always had people there for me, and always, I'm reading this book that is called Not Who, Know How, but Who. And I think that has been the story of my life, right? It's not necessarily, okay, what I'm gonna do next, but who do I know, who can I connect with that would help me reach what I wanna reach. I never done this alone. I'm standing here, but really, I have parents that have been nothing but supportive, a mom that showed me to be a working mom, and a working mom that cared for her children, but also had a really successful career. That has always been there for me. I want to thank my daughter, because without her, none of this would have happened. She had a food allergy, and that's what pushed me to really make a home away from home for her and other children. And then my son, who actually, I was 9 months pregnant, and I closed the first school. We bought it on March 1st, and he was born on March 8th. So I was very, very big, and he's always, one of the pieces that make me proud is that they're also part of the business, like the other family said. And, it makes you proud that they see you and that they would follow on your step, whatever they do, that they'll follow those things. My husband has been the backbone in my career. I read one time that who you married is so important, because because that's what's gonna define a lot of what your success and who you are in your life. And I definitely couldn't have chosen better. I don't know. He jokes because he says that that I chose him, but I think it was the other way around. And I have an amazing my sister, my cousin, who's always been the people that are there for me, and the other professional women that I count on to be able to go on this road. And then my team, who is here, and some of them couldn't make it because they had to close the schools. But you know what? It's for me, family is super important, and I think it's the value that I bring as a Latina. And that's part of who I am, right? Family is super important for me, and they have become my family. I have staff that have worked for me for years, and I have, one of them came in one time, and I hired her right away, and I'm like, this is the person who's gonna take us to the next level, or this is the person who's gonna support us. And they've all become my family, and I love and care for them. And truly, what we value a lot is the life and the things that we're offering to the children, the faces coming into the schools every day, and the service that we're providing to about 800 people so that they can go to work every day. We have about 700 children that walk into our facilities every day, and just knowing that we have something to do with that we are shaping the future of the communities is super important for us. My first group of kids that I had when I opened the school are graduating from high school this year. And I just love seeing them and the men and the women that they're becoming, and just knowing that we are part of that and that we had something to do with that just makes me super proud. And as a Latina businesswoman not in Philadelphia, we are in Chester in Montgomery County. I love being the representation of women and Latinos in very Chamber of Commerce, where I'm usually the only woman of color and the only women. And I hear that, what experiences Latinos have in this community. There's also other Latinos that do business outside the city, and we're there to support you too. But we also, represent our Latino community outside of Philadelphia, and that makes me proud. It makes me proud to be the representation of many Latinos in other communities. Thank you so much, and have a great evening.
I mean, that's a really heartwarming story, We've been talking all night about the wave of violence in this city, but it's also worth stopping back for a second and just saying, there are a lot of people like Sembrani who are also building warmth and nurturing and safety in our city. So thank you so much for that. All right, last but certainly not least, our final honoree of the night is a gifted pioneer originally from Bogota, Colombia. Just got a shout out to my peoples. It was the early 90s when he first walked into a smoke-filled office as a new Latino face in Philadelphia's architecture scene. He's worked at big firms, small boutique firms, and on the entrepreneurial side, ran his own firm, Olaya Studio, for 13 years in Philadelphia before merging with another local studio to create the OZ Collaborative. There, he is one of 3 principal architects. In all that he does, he continues to incorporate his multicultural background to provide clients with a unique cosmopolitan perspective. He's now celebrating his 30th year as an architect here in Philly. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Richard Olaya.
Buenas noches. Good evening. Hola, familia. Thank you so much, Aldia. Thank you for this distinct honor. Thank you, the committee, for selecting me and the honor of being here with a distinguished group of Latinos and entrepreneurs. I can't tell you enough how honored I am. I want to recognize this table over here of beautiful people. This is my family. My brothers Henry and Francisco. My brother Cesar is in Florida. He could not be here. Their lovely wives, Nana and Karen. My lovely Maya. And my business partner, Maury Zimmerman, who I tell people he is the Z to my O. And his lovely wife. And but of course, none of this is possible without recognizing my lovely mother, Gladys. And for you reporters that are in the room, if you guys want to really hear about a pioneering story, talk to that lady right there. She's got a story to tell you. That is really like a remarkable story like no other. But this distinction had me thinking about the notion of being a pioneer. And on the front of my office building where we work in West Philly, it says the words, creating beautiful spaces that reflect the best of contemporary society. So we wrote that as architects because to me, it describes the essence of what we do, of what my job is, to create something beautiful. And so now I think about this term, and this term also describes the essence of what it means to be a pioneer. And so it is the creation of beautiful spaces that happens with the ongoing efforts of helping the next generation of young Latinos and Latinas to find their own path towards their own dreams. So I'm seeing an evolution of what we do, and I find that to be so beautiful. When I read my own story, by the way, Nigel wrote an incredible article, and I really want to thank you for your tremendous writing skills on that. I want to back up a second, and I want to shout out my son Mateo and my son Elliot, who are also here tonight. Mateo is in these guys. I get emotional when I start to talk about them, so I'll stop. But Elliot is a fellow here with Aldea, and I'm extremely proud of these boys. But when I was reading the story, what was interesting to me was just hearing my own story from like outside of myself. And what I realized, what was interesting was that the challenges that I overcame are really not the takeaway. I mean, the story talks about, what we did when we came to the United States at the age of 7. My mom and my dad were here for many, many years before that. They were really working from the ground up. But that's not the takeaway. I think this story of mine is unique in some regards, but I think this story is familiar to a lot of you. I think a lot of Latinos know this story of the struggle, of the sacrifice. Maybe some of the details are different, but you guys know that this story is unique to us. I think the real takeaway tonight, damas y caballeros, is that as a pioneer, we are all forging ahead. As Latinos, we are all forging ahead so that the next young Latino and the next young Latina with big dreams can take that path and have it be just a little bit easier, and just have it be a little bit more easier to navigate, and know where the pitfalls are, know where the dangers are, and be able to kind of see a little bit of that, because we are reaching back to help them get forward. It's not just us moving forward. We need to circle back to keep that path fresh. And so it's not just for the young Latinos, it's not just for our kids and for our sons or daughters, but it's also for that immigrant who comes and shows up with nothing on their back except determination and passion and grit. And they can see that path that is lit before them so that they may also fulfill their own dreams. So thank you.
Wow. Can we have another round of applause? That wasn't loud. You know, it has been such a pleasure having everyone here tonight. And every year this just grows and grows. And last year, you know, we had about half the room here, and now it's twice the size, and there's twice as much energy and twice as many honorees to discuss. And it's a testament to the growth not only of the community of color in our city and the strength of the community of color in our city, but also to the entrepreneurial spirit that is embodied in all of us and that Hernan so graciously has shared with all of us through the Al Día Foundation and through this awards program. So to close the program, I'd just like to thank all of you for being here, and to all the nominees and to all of the honorees tonight. And I'd also like to give a big thank to our sponsors, JP Morgan Chase, PIDC, and West Bank. Thank you so much to the Al Día team and the whole advisory board for all of your support. A big thanks, of course, to the Pyramid Club for your hospitality tonight. Those were some amazing petty fours, by the way. Thank each and every one of you for your participation, your trust, and your collaboration. Good evening, buenas noches, have a good night.